Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria. I am Wilson Omasha, and I'm standing for Mr. Egusa Osamudeme Agbolaho, who is on a retreat. To go out there, when you return, it's going to be all blazing hot fire to tell you more about Nigeria within an hour. Well, today it is going to be about the forthcoming election. I'll be taking a look at it from two dimensions. The first dimension is the impact of the currency redesign, the implication in the forthcoming election. That is on one hand. You might have heard also about the spate of violence, talking about some convoys being attacked in due course to various towns, cities, villages. Whenever they want to go campaign, how do you think we can really stop this? If it's beginning before the D-Day, do you think it's going to get worse, or something will be done immediately to curb it? My analysts will throw more light on this and they share their thoughts, their opinions in this edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria. With me here in the studio, he is an APC chieftain. I like to call him a kingmaker, an elder statesman, political analyst. Join me to welcome Gentleman Amigo, Honorable Gentleman.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Wilson.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you, Wilson.
All right. As very close to him, he is a vibrant young man. He was one time the executive director of Edo State Internal Revenue. He was able to bring out some formalities that will, that is still driving the process of generating revenue in Edo State. Yet is the brain behind most of the things that you're seeing. And of course, increasing IGR and all that. I really wants to serve the people in every capacity. Join me to welcome Mr. Emmanuel Okundola. Emmanuel, welcome to 60 Minutes Nigeria. I appreciate your coming.
Good afternoon, Wilson, and good afternoon, yes.
Well, the man I want to introduce right now was one time, the president of a non-governmental organization. Yeah, talking about Congos. There's the organization of all NGOs put together. I'm trying to explain right now. One time the president in Edo State, and of course one-time chairman of Ovia Southwest local government area, and he's a politician, a vibrant youth. I really want to serve also in every capacity. Can really serve his people. I'm going to welcome Destiny in Abulele. Welcome to Nigeria.
Pleasure to be here.
All right.
Good afternoon, viewers. And let me add to that. And the PDP.
Hold on. We are not coming to that. There are good reasons for that.
I understand.
Because if your cash is not ready for that, don't even say that. Don't even say that, please. Let's be guarded.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to start off from the elder statement because we really have to tap from his knowledge. When the news broke of currency redesign, people like saying that it was too close to the election. They have either positive or negative inclination when talking about the organization of the election. What really came across your mind?
What were you talking
when
about?
talking about the currency redesign?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, Wilson, it's a very thrilling topic. I'm not an economist, but I'm a liberal-minded human being. I look at situations from that liberal point of view. If you look at other countries in the world, people redesign their currency between 8 and 12 years. When last did we design our own currency? It's almost 50 years now. We can't remain static in a place. Sorry. There are laws and rules in this country that are vagrantly disobeyed. It's a long time ago. If you pay more than 5 million, you have to report, the bank manager must report to central bank. And central bank in turn will go to EFCC. And EFCC will come and invite the individual. These laws are there, but they are not being implemented. Now we have to read. People are already panicking. We say, how do you explain a situation where people bury our money in soakaways, millions of naira? Now you can't buy 1 naira in Nigeria. It's about 850 to 1 naira. And that's painful. And that's why so many things that are important cannot be bought. You are hungry. I'm hungry. Everyone is hungry. because the naira has fallen. So now if we say, okay, let's redesign, people are already panicking. Why should you panic? Why? Okay, the money you have at home, go and pay it to the bank. But if it's more than 5 million, you have to explain. That's what the law says. Many of them cannot explain. How do you explain a situation where one boy running for the House of Assembly can be found with almost $1 million buried in his room and about 800 million naira? For goodness sake, does it not give you a headache? It gives me a headache if it doesn't give you. I just prepared to go to House of Assembly in terms of YPP, some party or so. So imagine if that boy is allowed to bring out 10,000. It will not mean anything to him because the naira is even valueless in his own house. For goodness sake, what are these people keeping the naira and the dollar for? Children unborn? We must come to a state where we say what is wrong is wrong. And so we believe, some of us believe very strongly that redesigning our naira now will save a lot of situations. All the money they have, they cannot change it, they cannot pay to the bank, the money will be useless. Emefiele has told us that we are expected to have 2.6 or 2.5 trillion naira in circulation. But today we have 3.7 in circulation. Where all that money that is excess, where are they coming from? Are they printing? Why are they printing? Where are they coming from? Let the people explain. For every minute, everything you do against the law, you must expect sanction for it. And so we are getting close now. When we change from on the 15th of December and end in January, all those money you went to bury will be useless for you. Thankfully enough, we see America is even on our side. They also want to any dollar printed before 2021 will not be a legal tender. Today, they don't know what to do with the money. Some are giving their girlfriends money to go and buy cars. Some are buying ramshackle houses just to spend the money. But all that will not save them because they have kept so much money. They should bring the money out. It's our common patrimony.
All right.
To bring it out.
All right, thank you.
I support.
You support it.
I support.
Well, thank you.
The change of the currency.
Thank you so much for the strong foundation you laid for this discussion. Now, no longer news that there is no going back because as at yesterday, Mr. President came out again to reaffirm his support for the redesigning of the currency. They talked about the introduction, so to speak, of 2,000 or 5,000 naira note. That is by the wayside. If that will happen, we don't know yet. Take a look at the election. It's around the corner. Some of the opinion that this redesigning of currency at this particular point in time is to win also political parties and some candidates that are not in tune with the ruling party. Take it up from there, Honorable Manuel.
All right. First, I want to support the views of Elders here, supporting the redesign of the Naira.
Yeah.
Equally, I am supporting the redesign of the Naira. Now, first and foremost, I think it is imperative for us to really understand the cardinal objective for which CBN is setting up, is coming up with this policy. Now, Naira redesign is the monetary policy tool of the CBN to address, manage, and control the supply of money in circulation. In other words, CBN is using it as a strategic contractionary policy weapon to mop up excess money in circulation with a view to controlling inflation. And you will quite agree with me that one of the significant measures with which you can control inflation in any part of the world or curb inflation is to control the supply of money. So in my own opinion, the policy is long overdue. Global best practice expects that CBN redesign, produce, and circulate legal tender every 5 to 8 years. But in Nigeria, since 20 years, nothing has been done. And you will agree with me that Section 2 of the CBN Act of 2007 give powers to the CBN to come up with a strong and effective legal tender. And also Section 19, subsection A and B of the CBN Act of 2007 gives power to the CBN to seek for approval from the president to produce, to redesign, produce, and circulate currency notes. So, the hue and cry about the fact that Minister of Finance is not aware of this and that should not even come in. So, the CBN, the central bank in Nigeria, they are operating the free market model. Okay, we call it the FM market. That is to say that whatever they do, they are independent. Whatever they do, policy measures that they come up with, they are not in control of the politicians. The politicians only have control, which is good for us. For me, the policy is a welcome development. And most importantly, it is important we understand the objective. When the CBN wants to create a stable microeconomic environment that will usher in sound fiscal policy, monetary policy, consumer spending, gross domestic product, controlled inflation, okay? And again, to combat and tackle illicit funding activities arising from terrorist financing, money laundering, kidnapping, banditry, name them, all right? And again, to promote financial inclusion, okay, all right? So, and in a way, to combat illicit vote buying. You know, I think last 3 weeks we talked about the issue of prepaid and prepaid vote buying model. Yeah. So this time around, it's going to be pretty difficult for any politician or candidate, okay, who have stacked money, who has hoard money at home, whose intention is to buy votes on that day, whether to embark on the prepaid and the postpaid voting model. So they will be grossly disappointed. All right,
they'll be grossly disappointed. Okay, they will be. All right, now as a PDP chieftain and as a politician, and of course, yeah, once an activist, always an activist. What do you feel about all this?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Let me very sincerely, appreciate ITV for this timely discourse. You see, I'm not a PDP chieftain. You can say,
but I'm PDP.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
a PDP. Yeah.
Let's leave it as that.
I'm more of the other side than when I say the other side, I mean as an NGO practitioner. Okay. You see, the issue before us, we must wait from both sides. For me, I'm in total support. And again, I have a little reservations.
A little reservation?
Yes. Good and fine. It has been established to check corruption, illicit, laundering, and what have you. There's no doubt about that. Just according to the CBN governor, he said over 80% of the money is in our private homes. What that means is not in circulation. There's a shortfall. And again, that the fall of the Naira is not a result that there's a shortfall of the Naira. No, because we are dependent nation. We are consumer nation. We don't produce. There's nothing, we don't have means of exchange. Our means of exchange is what determines the value of the Naira. That is not there. What do we produce as a nation? Absolutely nothing. The only thing is the oil. And as we speak very just now, the oil is no longer there. So for us, the Naira, we should expect more of the fall of the Naira. And as we speak now, even the dollar is no longer there. Go across all the banks. With due respect to the politicians, they've acquired everything. Go to the banks now. If you doubt to put a call across to them, they will tell you that they don't. If you want to travel out, I doubt whether you get BTA. It's as bad as that. Why? Because in some quarters, they believe that some quote unquote candidates they procured all the foreign exchange. So there's a shortfall. At times I pity some of us that maybe have their children or was schooling outside this country. I don't know how they are going to survive this trying time. Yes, it's a trying time. But not that why I said I have a little reservation is this. There is an election in February, March, and we are bringing this in. I'm trying to look at the scenario we are creating. It's going to be a very tense one. For me, I don't even have 200,000 in my house as I speak, as I'm here now. So now you talk of maybe, but we must wait whether we are directly affected or this or that. But just has been postulated by some persons that it is targeted towards some persons all over the world. Some policies are meant to affect some persons. When you know that your activities is running foul of the law. I listened this afternoon that some persons in the US were met with a forfeiture or whatever, but some person said it was a kind of a tax something. But that is what we are trying to fight against. Because if you look at it now, our money it is with our politicians. This measure, it is meant to checkmate. And believe it or not, many of us, I'm hoping that the ICPC and the EFCC, they are sharpening their pen and whatever, their torchlight to make sure that there is a due diligence. Not what happened when they said some persons during the Ondo and the Osho election that they arrested some persons. As we speak very just now, they are nowhere to be found. We just hope that there is a due diligence. And they must do it not according to the government in power, according to what the law stipulates. Because it's only in Nigeria that crime is a definition of convenience. Depends on who is interpreting it per time.
All right. He said some persons were targeted. Okay.
You cannot be negative about what is happening now. Because it starts from the 15th of December and it ends on the 31st of January.
Sir, would you respect, sir? I'm not afraid. I'm not negative. I said I have a little reservation.
Now, hold on.
The system is not perfect.
I will come back to you, Honorable. Now, from what he said this might just be a tool to target some politicians. Take it up from there.
We are not targeting politicians. Politicians are not the only thieves in society. Other people are thieves. Civil servants are thieves.
Well, I want us to generalize. You say some. Well, some politicians, some civil servants, some soldiers, not all of them.
Some policemen, yes. We know we are following the development in this country. You know of, I don't want to mention any name anyway.
Yes, let's not mention them.
Yes. No, it's not only politicians. Whoever is sabotaging our economy should be stoned to death. Not only just taking the money from him. Because you know what we are going through in this country. Go to riverine areas. Do you imagine, you see the big pipe? Are you following the situation in the country? Look at how they are siphoning our oil, our common patrimony. Look at the big project. You can't do it. Nobody here can do that. They are the good rich people who are putting those pipes right from source to the house. You know where they hire ship to come and collect oil. You don't know. I don't know. But you find ship in the sea and they come here and collect our oil. That's why I'm glad the chairman said oil is no more there. Because people are stealing the oil. We must stop them. If we don't stop them, the generation unborn will be like people in Haiti. So God forbid that. Let us please accept what Emefiele is doing. Emefiele, again, Commissioner for Finance ought to know that he is directly responsible to Mr. President, not to her. Never mind his ministry. He's not responsible to her at all. The instrument setting of Central Bank shows that he's directly responsible to Mr. President. So, sir, what we are saying is that must you keep our money in your house? The money is meant to be circulated. By the time you keep it in your home, the money is dead. And money should not be allowed to die.
All right. Now, for what you said, if you make a call across to some banks right now, you don't have dollars because according to speculation, it's been hoarded by some top politicians, not all of them. Some are saying that, look, the redesign of this currency is targeted at some specific politicians that belong to some specific political party, and the manner at which it will be treated will be different from what politician B also will be treated. He talked about if your money is above 5 million, you come and explain. But some are saying, bet you me that if they belong to a certain political party, nobody will call it to come explain. Take it up from there.
I'll be speaking from the perspective of our finance expert.
Yes.
And not from the political side. I think we need to look at this issue, this policy, objectively. Why you see me expressing this view in this manner is that I've spent 17 years in the banking sector as a regional coordinator, electronic banking and retail banking, and 4 banks. So I'll be approaching this issue from that perspective, not as a politician. I'm a PDP person, but let's do the right thing. Now, the CBN came up with a compelling value proposition, okay, to the effect that one of the reasons for that policy is to curb excess funds, excess money in circulation. And they gave a report that we have a total sum of 3.2 trillion naira in circulation. And out of that 3.2 trillion naira, 2.7 trillion naira is out of the banking system. That is out of the money deposit banks, implying that 80% to 85% of this fund are outside the banking system. And you know the economic implication of that, the multiplier effect of that. Let's look at that. Now, the CBN is simply saying, okay, 15th of December 2022, we will roll out new notes of 200, 500, and 1,000. Let's even start with that first. And the objective is to ensure that those who have stacked money, who have hot money, let me say illicit money stackers, bring their money now, let their money pass through the system. And in passing through the system, some legitimate questions are going to be asked.
Precisely.
That, okay, Mr. Man, you own this 200 million or 300 million naira. What is the source of this money?
But some are saying so will not be asked these questions you're talking about because of the affiliation.
Let's not just let's not I don't reach a rumor. Let's not just maybe be quick to speculate. All right, but let us look at the policy. But because for me, I'm looking at the fact that if the federal government is patriotic enough, if they are faithful, okay, to implement the policy the way it is, the long run benefit is going to be fantastic. I say faithful and patriotic implementation. I repeat again,
faithful and patriotic underline
implementation of this particular policy. I know there are, if you look at the cost benefit analysis in terms of what, because some persons have come up to say that it's going to cost huge sum of money, which is true. Now, first and foremost, in 2020, the federal government, the CBN, spent 58.6 billion naira to redesign, to produce a currency of 1.1 trillion naira in 2022. Fine. Now, there's what we call currency signorage, which is the difference between the face value of a currency and its attendant cost. For example, if you want to produce 500 naira note, okay, the difference between the face value of producing of that 500 naira note and the cost is that signorage. So these are certain issues that should be taken into consideration.
Okay, all right.
Now, some will tell you that our debt profile is 41.6 trillion,
yes,
with a debt service ratio of 118%, which implies that as the revenue is coming,
you servicing debt and all that.
You service and you still go and borrow to service.
To service.
These are some of the reasons some experts are adducing.
That is not the right time.
That is not the right time.
I'll come back to you, Honorable. Just hold on. Honorable Destiny, yes, go ahead.
I said something. I said I have a little reservation, and my daddy said I shouldn't have negative.
You shouldn't have any.
It's not as if, you see, one would have been expecting the senior governor by now to detail or give us a breakdown analysis of what's going to cost us to embark on this exercise in a transparent manner. You know, he said something. He said the money is excess. When our governor said we are printing, or we were printing money at a time, some said they should take our governor to the gallows and do the needful. This is exactly what is happening. A country that is borrow to do one bed, and to according to my father here, give to their girlfriends to go buy car and buy whatever. What do you expect? When there's no foundation geared towards production. What we are expecting, you see, for a very long time, just what we were discussing before the studio, it's going to remain for a very long time, not the prophet of doom. Because if you fail to do the needful by putting the necessary pegs, round pegs in a round hole, what is happening now will definitely happen. A situation where you have nepotism left, right, center. What do you expect? As you speak very just now, there's no sector you can tell me that is viable in this country. No sector.
You're right.
Ethiopia, for instance, they have made this is airline. The last time I visited Ethiopia is fantastic. What do we have as a nation? Oil. Since 1956 till date. Netherlands has oil. They left their oil in the soil. There's what we call resource costs. We are living a rental life, a rental system, and you expect to be well and good for us. What we say rental is likened to me going on begging. At the end of the day, I said I want to own a mansion. It's difficult. So we must go back to the basics. We must go back to the drawing board. We must have some good head-thinking persons, rather than this rigmarole. And now election is before us. What are we putting forward? What are we putting forward as a nation to say, okay, the next 4 years is going to be better? No. Now we started paying homage. Here is a fundamental issue. Your head, as if you want to be a president, be a governor, is of paramount importance to us as a person. What person we need now is a person that can face the computer, that can interact with the world 24 hours. Anything short of that, I don't think we'll get out of this quagmire in the near future.
All right, over now to you. Some are saying that this may just check vote buying, while others are saying vote buying is ongoing already. Take it up from there, sir.
That is not sayable. You don't talk like that. Vote buying is already in progress. Israel can do election now. In 2 hours thereafter, the results are out.
Yes.
You know, election is going on right now in America.
In the US.
Yes.
And the results are already out.
Yes.
So we know England can go for election under 24 hours. The whole result is announced. So nobody can skew this election anymore. We have developed, and that's why we must say Buhari in that aspect of it may have done well. You cannot skew our election. You can't steal boxes anymore. You cannot buy anybody. If you want to buy anybody, buy him in the house. Not, I tell you, in Georgia, in America, if you give water to a voter on the queue because he's tired, you are getting 7 years imprisonment.
7 years in jail.
For just giving water, I mean the state of Georgia, just giving water to somebody who has been standing on the queue is an offense. So you go there this day and go and vote, you can't screw our election anymore. If you steal a box, you go to jail because it's going to be meaningless to you. Right. It's electronic voting. As you make PAM, the report appears over there.
All right, now you just want to go for a break. If you just joined us, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria. We're taking a look at currency redesign, the impact in the general elections. Don't go away. If you just joined us, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria. And like what I said earlier on, we'll be taking a look at two issues from different perspectives. One, currency redesign, and of course, talking about electoral violence, how to curb it. Well, brother gentlemen, 1 minute each, we're going to conclude, or let's summarize our points about the implication of currency redesign on the forthcoming general elections, after which we'll delve into curbing electoral violence. You get to hear reports of one party being attacked, this attack. So how can we really get out of this? That'll be after your summation. Do you think this redesign of currency will impact negatively in the forthcoming election, Honorable?
No, I said earlier on that I'm not an economist, but literally I'm in support of currency design. They should redesign the currency to move this country forward. There's too much money in circulation. We have to curb it. It's normal primary economics, supply and demand. If there's so much dollar in the market, we have money to that, the price goes down. So, sorry, I am in support of Emefiele. What other thing did you say?
I think that'll be that for now about the implication in the election. It's going to have a
It's not
positive
going
or
to. It's
negative.
not. That will answer.
Yes.
I told you that 15th of December
Yes.
to 31st of January. How will you have any effect on the election? And in any case, you are in Nigeria. Why would you allow yourself to be bought? That's why George Yoma said commitment, patriotism, and oneness that this country must move forward. For goodness sake, let this country move forward. But everybody,
okay.
If you go and buy, take 20,000 and go and vote, then the problem is yours.
Yours. Okay. Open up to you as an economist, an accountant, and a politician, clergyman. 1 minute, summarize your points. It's going to have an implication in the election.
Yeah. The policy is going to have economic dislocation in the short run. But in the long run,
yes,
everyone will be the better point.
Good.
All right? And again, most especially, the aspect that has to do with vote buying. You know, vote buying is a cancer that has undermined the legitimacy and integrity of our electoral process. So the policy is going to curb that to the barest minimum. And I will expect that everyone will support that policy.
All right. Over to you now, Honorable Destiny.
Yeah, we'll see. For me, I'm not in doubt.
But the reservation still remains.
Just like what I said earlier, I have a little reservations. Because he must go to equity, must go with clean hands. Emefiele must be able to tell us what it's going to take for him to embark on this exercise. That's transparency. That we've not seen. You and I know that Emefiele is a member of APC. There's no doubt about that. At the point he was vying for the presidency. So for us, that are political watchers or perhaps an active participant, you cannot erode that from our mind. Yes. So for us, there is a political undertone, whether you like it or not. For me, I'm in support. But
with reservation.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
What political undertone? What political undertone?
Honorable, it's his own opinion because what he rightly said, yes, was to come out with 100 million to purchase.
He's a member.
He's a member
so
of the
anything he's doing must be taken with.
But like what he said, also patriotism.
Yes.
May just be faithful patriotism
and patriotic implementation.
Yes, it may just undermine the reservations. You never can tell. Let's see how all this will pan out.
Let's watch.
Okay. Now, talking about the second dimension of this program, what is really happening politically speaking, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, you get to hear that Atiku Abubakar's convoy was attacked. Is it in Borno State of that nature? I was there trying to go campaign. Of course, that wasn't the first time we had this report. Even in some northern parts, also you get to hear some people attacking convoys, politicians that are going out there to campaign. Honorable Amigo, what's your view on this?
I don't know how that one happened. Because in the convoy, you have a lot of policemen, SSS, and if you like, soldiers. I don't know how the dead devil can attempt to do that. But a situation where 70 people were injured, that's not a child's play at all. 70 people were. We thank God that no one was killed. But the reason behind it, nobody knows. To use my young man's language, I'm a patriot. I love this country so well. Because I have no other country of my own. Whether you are to the right or to the left, you are in Nigeria. Why would they attack Atiku, the good convoy? Why? Why? Even if you don't like him, that's why you must attack him, kill all the people who are going with him. It's a very painful thing to say, honestly. I'm in sympathy with Atiku and in sympathy with this country. Please, let us plead with them, these gunmen, so that we have a peaceful election. Right. They have no need for it. 4 years is coming and is going. So we must conduct an election for another set of human beings to come to power.
All right.
You can't threaten us. The election must be held.
All right. Though he's a member of the APC, his heart of felt sympathy goes out to Atiku in the opposition. I mean, but this is becoming worrisome. This is like the second or the third time that we had this issue of political violence when a convoy, a particular political party want to go out there to campaign. You get to hear of one form of attack or the other. 70 persons injured. Take it up from there. Honorable Manuel.
All right. First and foremost, I think I need to condemn the attack. I'm not in support of that attack. And again, if you reflect on our democratic journey right from independence through the military to this present era, you will quite agree with me that violence has been one of the recurring features of Nigeria's electoral history. It's a statement of fact from where we are coming from. However, like what happened yesterday, what happened in Maiduguri, okay? First, we need to look at the level of education, poverty, okay, and ignorance, abysmal ignorance on the part of those who carry out that attack. I think this is where the civil society organization, the electorate, and all those who are within the democratic value chain governance to begin to build advocacy for political education and to avoid hate speeches and anything that will incite the youth or any person to begin to attack any convoy. So I think we should begin to condemn the aspect of violence in any form. It's not something we should encourage at all.
All right. How did we get here?
Yeah, listen, I am a student of history. I'm not surprised that you are asking me how do we get here. Perhaps maybe you are not a student of history too. I read in some literatures, to be very precise, 1964-65, which Daddy can should have a little knowledge of it. There was a carnage in the land. This is not the first time. I think we are gradually gravitating, getting out of it. It happens again in 1983. I saw the present man in the saddle of leadership that said, okay, because of what happened during the election, he overthrew the then government. And now we are here again. You see, there's a saying that education makes people easy to govern, but difficult to manipulate. My friend said that maybe they are not educated. Not true. Some of these persons that are coordinating this attack, they are educated persons. They are educated elites.
Yes.
They have the wherewithal. They educate. They tell their followers attack. Even in our states here, you can see some persons. They go and remove the posters of their opponents. That's the height of madness. You see, we must begin to see. Election is not a do or die. Just as I was discussing with my father before we came aboard. See, a man that has spent hell, perhaps sold his house, perhaps borrowed money to emerge as a candidate of a political party, you cannot stop that man from backing on the violence on election day. So we must start from the roots. We must begin to address it. In the developed world, you see, people contribute 10 cents. My younger brother donated some, whether $20 at a time for a particular candidate. So at times, that candidate money very insignificant in terms of how in the campaign funds. But here, an individual have to bring out the money and you expect that person not to stick his neck, perhaps to kill himself in the process. You saw what happened in UK recently. Within the space of 2 months or a month, you saw Prime Minister resign because they cannot fix the problem. But if you're to be here, after spending billions to lobby to become a Prime Minister, and you want to come back home, if you're a woman, you will come meet your husband. If you are a man, you will come meet your wife. It's as bad as that. So we must address the root. And again, where it happened is a den of the Boko Haram. And you and I know. I won't want to. For me, I'm a party person. My dad is another party person. For me, I expect by now that the running mate should be on air, castigating or perhaps, telling his people or apologizing to the Nigeria. If it's happening in a developed client, by now he will resign of being a running mate because it's his home state. See, there's a saying in my Benin language, literally it means that there is something happening in the household without the knowledge of the man of the house. That is aware. I've been a chief executive officer of a local government. There is nothing you will tell me before there's a political incident that I did not sponsor. If I don't sponsor, it won't happen. I'm saying it here. If I don't sponsor it, it
Not
will
like
happen.
gunmen.
All right.
Not like gunmen.
Honorable Destiny.
Not like gunmen. I said political. Political.
Gunmen are faceless people.
No, I'm not saying gunmen. I said political. This is political.
What he said, he raised one major point. He said where it happened
It's
is
the home
in the
of
heart
the running mate.
of a running mate, Borno State.
That man should be on air apologizing
And he should be on
to
air
Nigerians.
apologizing, but they've not said anything about it.
Why
So take
don't
it
you
up
want
from
to
there.
say the governor should apologize, not Chetima?
No, not the governor, sir.
No,
The governor-
hold on. Destiny, he has the floor.
The governor is the head of security of the state. Not Chetima probably campaigning somewhere. He won't be home. But the professor who is the governor of that place should know. That's what we are saying. Let's ask the professor what happened. I think we should ask him.
The professor should know, the running mate should know.
Because he's the governor of the
He's the
state.
governor
He's
of
a
the state.
coordinator
As
at
the
that.
woman of the state and chief security authority. Now, do you think that it has a political undertone?
Well, it's doubtful to make such a sweeping statement.
Okay.
It's very doubtful. I think, well, again, the Fulanis are the Boko Haram.
No. It's
That's
not good for us to
what-
generalize.
Okay.
It's not
The
for
Boko Haram
generalize.
people,
Yes.
if they have their root from Borno, we all know about that. The painful thing is that people are just having eyes, they are not seeing, they are not hearing. Sorry to digress a little bit. I will always use my young man's language, patriotism, faithfulness to our country. Are you aware that Nigerian Americans, 8 of them were elected in America?
Yes.
8.
Yes, it.
Femi, our young lady who grew up in Nigeria, wanted to run for prime ministership of Great Britain.
Yes.
He got to the 10th position before she said no. And we have a lot of Nigerians in parliament in London. Is that not sufficient to open our eyes? Say what we are doing is wrong. How can you bring gun to scare a presidential candidate? He will not come back again to campaign. And it's not fair. Whoever has done it, like he said, if anybody is part of it,
Yeah. Okay. If
anybody is part of it,
yeah.
then they should suffer the consequences.
All right. Now, over to you now, Emmanuel, because from what Destiny said, he said this do have a political undertone, and nothing will happen in a particular state without the governor knowing, number one, and of course the running mate, he is from that state. Take it up from there.
Well, anything is possible.
Yes.
Anything is possible. But let me look at it from a different perspective.
Okay.
First, I think we need to really understand the triggers of political violence in Nigeria. It has happened today, it has happened in Maduguri.
Yeah.
It can be somewhere else again tomorrow. I think it's good we look at it holistically.
Yeah.
What are the triggers of political violence in Nigeria? I think one of them is the high stake of political competition.
The high stake political
High
competition.
stake.
Competition.
Yes.
I think
Honorable Destiny.
Honorable Destiny made mention of the fact that in Nigeria you spend billions of naira and you expect at the end of the day not to win, a politician not to win. And he made mention of the fact that here is a do or die affair. Which is not supposed to be. Now, in Nigeria, politics is a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game, which implies that the winners takes it all and the loser loses it all. In the game of probability, it therefore shows that the occurrence of a candidate A winning will necessitate the occurrence of candidate B losing entirely. So that is why you see that it is a do or die affair in this country. So now, what should be done to curtailing or curbing political violence? One, I will tell you, I think the civil society, the citizens, the electorate, they should begin to expand the frontiers of democratic governance by pushing for mandatory public accountability, transparency, and efficiency. And again, push to the extent that there's pressure for constitutional amendment so that elective offices like Senate, House of Rep, House of Assembly are on part-time basis.
Yes.
Part-time basis.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
So
all right.
I give him to that.
that will drastically reduce
The cost implication.
Yeah, it reduces
Okay.
the cost of governance. And again, if the citizens, the electorate can equally push to ensuring that allowances of senators, all
House of Rep
elected
members,
are
be brought down.
reduced. Exactly.
I'll come back to you. Well, Destiny, I like to call you a man with reservations this afternoon. Now, you said nothing can happen in a home without the man in the house.
That is true.
knowing. You give an example of when you were the chairman
Yes.
of a local government, as you also faulted the running mate not coming now to make, something like an appeal to condemn that act. But he said, Honorable said, he's not the governor. I mean, is this all about politics, or someone is trying to send a message from your own perspective? Is that what you're saying right now?
You see, my brother, let me try to just like what you rightly said, have some reservations. You see, it happens in a home state of a running mate of a very strong contender of the present that's Atiku Abubakar. What does the signal? What is portrayed outside is that there's every traces on 90%. You can't tell me that is ignorant of that act. The governor or the running mate, the president.
Don't forget that the same state we are talking about.
I am a candidate now. I am a candidate now.
Of a non-government, and I'm fighting against it.
I'm commissioner.
All right.
Is it what happens? It's not a non-government. What happens? I'm a candidate. Just in my constituency now. For instance, say my opponent, they removed his poster. I must have knowledge of it. Let us, whether directly or indirectly, I must have knowledge of it. That's the point. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Not a man of that caliber. We must get one thing clear. Just as this man rightly said, you see, politics is a war without bloodshed. And war is politics with bloodshed. And if it doesn't nip on the board, there will be a retaliation.
Okay.
I promise you, we must address it now. And that's why I use the word. The only made by now, and perhaps the governor by now should have been on air on all the print medias, appealing and admonishing or advising his followers not to. Because if it happens, I have another man here.
That's true.
There's a saying, no, they will say, about the way go. There's no way you will tell me that you know all the routes. If you know some, I will equally know some. The ruling party now at the national must go back and caution it's happening.
Okay.
Even in this state now, as we speak.
All right.
They are pulling off some posters of some party of some party candidates.
All right, Destiny, calm down. Honorable, calm down. Watch your emotions. Now, gentlemen,
Exactly.
1 minute each, because as you can see, our time is up. Almost 60 minutes is up.
Yes, it's true.
How can we really stop this? Because of this, going to talk about solutions. What do you think can be done to stop all this? Because he talked about reprisal attack. Nobody prays for that. Honorable, you're going to have the first take on this. 1 minute each.
Well, thank you, Wesley. It's nobody can control the future. It's something that is giving everybody pain.
Yeah.
The young, middle-aged, the old, men and women. How do we stop this? How did we get here? Greed brought us to where we are now. Well, how now do we solve the problem? Well, education, like he said, to be part of it. Because a lawyer or an engineer cannot become a faceless gunman. It is difficult, very difficult, except in a very bad situation.
Thank you, Daddy.
All right.
So education is very important.
Thank you, sir.
And then, of course, when we were in school, we were taught one subject called civics. That's when you are doing civics.
Yeah.
Civics, we teach you in civics what the government is doing for you and what you have to do to the government. I was in Spain. I saw a little child playing with the flowers on the roadside.
Yes, sir.
He didn't pull it out. But here in Nigeria, try it.
All right, thank you.
They will just cut the whole thing off.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Education. All right, Mr. Manuel, briefly, 1 minute, your summation, how to stop this.
First, I would like to say that Nigeria at the moment is suffering from a debilitating genetic disorder fueled by leadership failure, insecurity, insurgency, and made worse by economic wounds. And on that ground, I think there is need for a major ideological shift by a benevolent, visionary, committed, selfless leader.
Right.
Okay, that will put
Everything in order.
In order.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Manuel. Honorable Destiny, briefly, 1 minute, please. Some time is up.
For me and for Nigerians, election is vote, not fight, because ours is to change the narratives. My father is here. They have in their own time trying to. Here we are as a very younger ones. We must do it differently, because we can't expect to be doing something in the same manner and expect a different result. It is madness.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate the wonderful analysis. You've heard them. Violence is not the key. It is not the way. You will have to put your house in order so that all this thing will not happen again. The opinions, yes, that's what we do with ITV. And don't forget that next week, Thursday, I will be on the ground to talk some more on the program 60 Minutes Nigeria. And Wilson on Marshall, signing off. Bye for now.